everybody. Welcome to my channel. This is a Blood Bank campaign project. I am Jairu Segbe. Actually, we are about creating the first blood bank in Africa. The very first blood bank in Africa. This bank is really that long-awaited financial service provider that we believe is going to take us to that point of auto-sustainability in the funding of our charity work. Of course, that goes without saying. But the point I want to make is, we are not going to raise starting capital by depending on shareholders, or maybe by lobbying with foreign funders. No. We are going to create wealth strictly by behavior restructuring, specifically spending behavior restructuring. Yeah. You see, the way we use money tells a lot about who we are and how far we can go in life. There are a whole lot of people who work so hard and earn so much only to throw away everything. Such maladaptive behaviors need to be restructured. And it's a common issue that plagues the entire world. No one is an exception. Now, we have two products, the SBI and SBRP. The SBI simply does what? It spots spending behavior lapses, while the SBRP does the fixing. So maladaptive spending is really an issue, and we have the tools to check that. Yeah, I'll come back to our tools in just a few. But let me zoom in on this behavior restructuring so we see why it is an imperative. Yeah, and I'll do that by giving us a typical example of what is happening now in Nairobi. As we speak now, a young man had just called off his wedding. He did so. That was yesterday, but one. Yeah. That's because his fiancée maxed out his credit card. He says this girl has been a pain in the ass. This is the kind of girl who, when she sees him with money, she will pester him until he uses up everything. If she goes shopping, she will come back with the entire supermarket. So this young man has been in hell. And then this last straw, the girl maxes out the credit card just a couple of days before their wedding. So he called it off. You can imagine the damage. The damage a young girl invites upon herself. You need to see this girl. She's just a complete shadow of her own very self. Her family is pining away in grief. The young man himself is all broken down. We cannot understand what spending behavior does. You know? Now, it's not like this is a girl they met just the other day. No, it's a childhood crush. They grew up together, they school together, joined college together, they graduated together, and then he picked up a job right after school. But the girl is still tarmacking because, well, the job market is what it is. And then, to cut costs, they decided that the girl moved in with him. She did. That was when he realized all that glitters is not gold. She was simply a wolf in sheep's clothing. Yeah, he was judging a book by its cover. Now, this young man had a good job, well-paid job, 10 whole years on a 9-to-5 job, nothing to show for. He was surviving paycheck to paycheck, and each month he goes for an overdraft. Do you know what it means? I mean, he even said sometimes he just managed to get by. No, he managed to scrape by. So at one moment, the family said, no, this girl is not good for you. Please, you have to give it a rethink. What? The pressure was so much from all the social circle. So he had to call off the relationship. They broke up. And he decided to try to put his life back together. But within a couple of days, the girl came back crying on bended knees, and she said, okay, fine. She has figured out what makes her spend so much, and she's already working on it. So she begged for a second chance. You know, the issues of the heart. The guy gave him. Now the girl really changed. Also, he thought, because at least she kept to her words and she was different. Just a couple of months back, this guy got a big business deal that gave him huge money. And then so they decided to really go in for this wedding that had just been called off. When this big money landed, that behavior started creeping in again. The young girl started spending. He tried to call her out, but she said, oh, come on, you are living in the past. And then, see what happens. She maxes out his credit card just a couple of days before the event. And now the marriage is called off. Who loses? It's not about this young girl losing a marriage. It's about she losing the love of her life. It is about the kids that this couple are possibly going to have will never be born. She's so broken down. This young man, the business is going nowhere. All the investment in this marriage taken away. Their families are no better. Do you see what spending behavior does? And the guy said the girl is a gold digger. That is when we came in. The girl that, well, she called us in, and our technical team took up the issue. Now, the first thing they did was to administer the SBI, the spending behavior inventory. And they get Freudian A. You know, Freudian A, the kind of spending behavior that is Freudian A, they're impulse spenders. An impulse spender, money in the hands of an impulse spender is an accident waiting to happen. Yeah, it is a situation that threatens because eventually it will explode. So, as an impulse spender, I mean, the guy is right. The guy is right. His diagnosis of this girl being a gold digger, just, in fact, we're on the same page. We diagnosed an impulse spender, he diagnosed a gold digger. So, now, but our team told him, really, you are right, because his feelings have to be validated. So, he's right. I mean, his judgment is okay. That's his perspective. That is his opinion, which ought to be respected. But our team told him, well, you have diagnosed to reject. We diagnosed to restructure. So yesterday, this girl, I mean, after being diagnosed Freudian A, she is now on restructuring because the SBRP has been administered. She is going to be restructured. So our team told the guy, yes, she's a gold digger. But look, you cannot summarize a whole human being on a single adjective. You know? Yeah, because there is something in her that actually digs the gold. But you can't write her off as a complete gold digger because that's someone's daughter for Christ's sake. She has virtues. That sells her high. Just because there's this little spoiling, you know, it's not just enough for you to, you know, write her off. But of course, you have a right to do so. Well, this is a good news. We diagnosed to restructure, while the young man diagnosed to reject. Now, this is what is happening in the world. And that is why I said we are going to raise funds simply by marketing our product. See what happens in the world. All of us know someone, and we have all those adjectives. He is mean. He's a spendthrift. You know, he's so tight-fisted. You know, he's stingy. Now, when we create this cluster of adjectives, this cluster of name calling, this cluster of nouns, what do? We reject those individuals. You know, if we are friends, we part ways. Like, look at a marriage. It's failing. Look, there are families where siblings, they are not in harmony. Because we realize that one is so stingy, one is so tight-fisted, one is so mean. So all these adjectives, they lead to what? Rejection. But with us, when we diagnose, we restructure. That is what is called spending behavior restructuring. The whole world is sick. Someone knows someone that possibly he thinks we can't keep them. So we break up, good riddance. Yeah, and then even as we speak, people know us too with our weaknesses. They too are waking us up. So it's a kind of thing that we're losing in social connectedness. What is happening is there is a kind of lifestyle in a collective society like in Africa where individuals, they depend on each other. Now, throughout life, we have groomed friends, we have neighbors, we have colleagues, we have several acquaintances. When we find out that there are something on the downside that we don't appreciate, what happens? When we find out that we can't depend on them, they don't have our back, they can never come through for us, they can never bail us out. We are like, okay, please, I can't be part of this. This is what is happening in the world now. We need to restructure. So when we talk of spending behavior restructuring, it's a very serious issue. And that's exactly why we created these two products, the SBI and the SBRP. Because from now hence, up to here, it's about rejection. And we are right to reject because all of us are working on survival. We have to be on the survival mode. If someone can stand in for you, forget him. But then when you forget him, you lose a vital resource. When you forget him, you lose a vital friend. You lose a vital family member. It is true, it can be a spendthrift. It is true, it can be mean. If it's true, it can be tight-fisted. But there are other resources in these individuals, there are other skills that we can actually count on, in some way. And that can be of help somehow. But now it's like throwing away the baby with the bathwater. This is exactly what our group is trying to introduce to the world. This is a package we have for the world to make sure that we don't diagnose and reject, but we diagnose and restructure. So that restructuring process is going to take place at individual level because when you restructure your spending behavior, you will be in harmony with your own self. It will be within the context of emotional relationship. Yeah, the guy is a gold digger, the girl is a gold digger, the guy is mean, my husband is cheap, my wife, the type that never goes to the supermarket and comes back with any money left. Everybody complains about everybody, and we are rejecting, we are breaking down old relationships and possibly trying to build up new ones. At the end of the day, the world is sickened. But this is the good news, we are saving it. So in our next series, you are going to watch 15 minutes of the Emergence Festival. And that will be a typical example of spending behavior restructuring at corporate level. So thank you so much for being part of this. Like I said, we are on our way. We are on our way to create the first bread bank in Africa. Meet us in the next episode. Watch the Emergence Festival. Thank you.